For a monthly fee, a company will let you talk to a digital version of your grandmother, trained on her old texts, her voicemails, recordings of her actual voice. It remembers your birthday. It answers the way she used to answer. It is not her. Here's what you're actually paying for. This industry has an actual name now, the digital afterlife industry, and it's grown into a real, if still niche, market. Companies like HereAfter AI, Storyfile, Project December, and Only Virtual all offer some version of the same core idea. Feed an AI system a person's texts, emails, voice recordings, or recorded video interviews, and let loved ones continue talking to them after death. HereAfter AI lets someone record their own life story while still alive, building what the company calls a life story avatar that surviving family members can later interact with by voice. Storyfile takes a different approach, using pre-recorded video interviews and matching algorithms to answer visitors' questions with actual footage of the real person, responding to whatever's asked as naturally as the pre-recorded answers allow. Project December works differently still, originally built on a hacked version of GPT-2 back in 2020, letting users fill out a questionnaire about a deceased loved one and then simulate a text conversation with an AI built from that description. None of these systems are resurrecting anyone. They're doing something much more specific and much more limited than that. Every one of these tools works the same fundamental way: pattern matching. The AI studies how a real person actually wrote, spoke, and phrased things in whatever text messages, emails, voicemails, or interview footage exists, and generates new responses statistically consistent with that pattern. It's genuinely impressive at surface-level mimicry. It is not memory, consciousness, or continuity of any kind. Researchers studying this field, including a team at Cambridge who coined the term Griefbots for exactly this technology, are blunt about the core limitation. Because the AI generates new responses rather than replaying old ones, it will inevitably say things the real person never actually said, sometimes subtly out of character, sometimes in ways that could misrepresent what they actually believed or wanted. This has already moved past private grief and into some genuinely startling public moments. In May 2025, an AI avatar of Chris Pelkey, a road rage victim in Arizona, addressed the courtroom directly during the sentencing hearing of his killer for years after his death. His sister had created the avatar, and it delivered a message expressing forgiveness. In August 2025, journalist Jim Acosta conducted a widely discussed on-air interview with an AI avatar of Joaquin Oliver, one of the victims of the 2018 Parkland school shooting. Both moments were described by their creators as meaningful and healing. Both also raise a genuinely difficult question researchers keep circling back to. None of these deceased people consented, in advance, to having an AI generate new words attributed to them, for a courtroom, for television, or for anyone else. Which brings up the psychological question sitting underneath all of this. Is talking to a Griefbot actually healthy? Grief researchers have long recognized something called continuing bonds theory, the idea that healthy grieving doesn't necessarily mean fully severing your connection to someone who died. Maintaining a sense of ongoing connection through memory, ritual, or objects can be a completely normal, healthy part of mourning. Several of these companies explicitly build their products around this framework, positioning their tools as a technological extension of something grief researchers already consider psychologically legitimate. But mental health researchers studying this technology specifically remain genuinely divided. The core, unresolved concern: does an interactive system that talks back, in real time, in a convincingly familiar voice, help someone process a loss, or does it risk keeping them suspended in a form of engagement that delays the parts of grief that require accepting the person is actually gone? As one researcher studying deadbots put it plainly, these are very complicated questions, and there aren't good answers yet. And underneath the psychological question sits a legal one that's even less resolved. Who actually has the right to recreate someone digitally after they've died? In the US, so-called right of publicity laws, which protect a person's name, voice, and likeness from commercial use, vary enormously by state, and few were written with AI-generated conversation in mind at all. Most of these services rely on the living family member's consent to build the avatar, not the deceased person's own advance consent, since in the vast majority of cases, the person being recreated died before this technology existed or was never asked. Both Microsoft and Amazon have filed patents in this general space. Microsoft for chatbot technology that could recreate a deceased person's personality from their data, Amazon for an Alexa feature capable of speaking in a deceased relative's voice. Neither has fully commercialized these specific patents yet, but their existence signals that major tech companies are actively thinking about this as a real future product category, not just a niche startup experiment. And then there's the question almost nobody asks until it's already happened to them. What occurs when the company itself stops existing? In 2024, Storyfile, one of the best-known companies in this entire space, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, reportedly owing around $4.5 million to creditors. The company said it was reorganizing and setting up a fail-safe system so families could retain access to their recorded materials even if the business folded entirely. That's the plan when things go well. It's not guaranteed for every company in this space, and there's no current industry-wide standard requiring it. If a smaller Griefbot startup simply shuts down without a data preservation plan, the person families had been talking to, built from someone's actual final voicemails and messages, can disappear entirely, along with the company's servers. What you're actually buying when you pay for one of these services isn't your grandmother back. It's a statistical pattern built from things she really said, generating new things she never got the chance to. For some families, that's proven to be a genuinely comforting piece of technology. For grief researchers, ethicists, and lawyers, it's also a fast-moving industry running well ahead of any clear answers about consent, healthy grieving, or what happens to a digital version of someone you loved when a company decides to shut its servers down. If this changes how you'd think about a service like this, that's a completely reasonable reaction to have. Subscribe for more deep dives into the technology, quietly reshaping deeply human experiences. And tell me in the comments, would you ever want to talk to an AI version of someone you'd lost? Or does that cross a line for you?